Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, old witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. She's gone where the goblins go. Below, 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 yo-ho, 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 and sing a ding-a-dong-o. Ding-dong, the witch is dead. Witch, old witch, let us know the wicked witch gave head.
Tried to get everybody's attention, it didn't work, so... Let me just take a look at this list. Morgan Freeman, Charles Hawtrey, Lord Lotsbottom.
Thank you.
What's this guy know? Don't get nice with this. Okay, Rob. Rob is the honorable person who's the clincher, closer, super duper Burls. He'll kick off the second half and end the second half. Aren't you, Rob? That what we call that? The last word. The last word. Give him a round as he comes up here, please. A man after your own heart, or a $10 bill if you're not really watching what you're doing.
A $10 bill, that's all, really?
Well, you know, he's a fair man.
He's cheap.
So shall I frame you both over there?
Well, I'm going to do a poem standing and then a song sitting.
Okay.
So you don't need to frame her at the moment.
Oh, all right. Even though she did do it.
She's already guilty.
Yeah.
Thank you. Guilty until proven otherwise.
Alrighty, welcome to the second half. A poem and then a song. This poem is brand new and it is called Sneakers. Look at me, I'm naked in sneakers. Running from desensitization, running from touch deprivation, running from psychosexual alienation. Look at me, I'm naked in a big floppy hat, running to a world where no mammals in a cage, running to a society where suicide isn't sage, running to a reality free of moral outrage. Look at me, I'm naked in a turtle-necked dickie, running to a time before recorded history, running to the rebirth of the letters W-E. I'm naked. Won't you come run with me? And a song. This song is called Lover Woman. She doesn't care that I don't keep a job. She wants my heart, not my bucks. She doesn't mind that I can't remember dates. She says Valentine's and birthdays are for schmucks. If I'm feeling horny, she drops her plans. If her friends annoy me, they're gone. She likes to fuck me every damn day, even during that time of the month. Rock on. She never asks me to dress up. She never cares what I wear. She never buys me clothes. She never fixes my hair. She's my lover woman, she's my schmoopy pie. She's my lover woman, ain't I the luckiest guy? She doesn't want me to give her gifts, she calls my love the greatest gift of all. She turns off her phone when we're together, and she's chill if I forget to call. She doesn't want to get married, she says that kids are for fools. She only makes me visit her parents so that we can fuck in the pool. If my little Winky won't come out to play, she doesn't scream that I must be gay. If I'm not feeling frisky that day, she just gets it on with her best buddy Kay. Okay. She's my lover woman, she's my schmoopy pie, she's my lover woman, ain't I the luckiest guy? She loves it when I love other women, she knows it makes me happy and wise. If I find one of her friends kinda sexy, she'll give me a threesome prize. She calls my little wonder wand the best friend she's ever found. She says she feels God when she's going down. She prefers a night on me to a night on the town. She even wants her mom to fuck me, just to spread the love around. She's got 2 twin teenage cousins. She wants me to be their first cock. She says they're so cynical. She says they're in for a shock. She's my lover woman, she's my schmoopy pie. She takes 2 hours to give me head. Of course the world looks kind of funny whenever I'm taking my meds.
Thank you, my partner, Andrew, my partner.
Well, the musical cavalcade continues here. Thank you, Rob. Abby? And she is new, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, I want to hear it. She is new. It's Abby. First time here. Come on, I don't hear it. That's not enough. Hi, come on, hear it. Ah!
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is actually my first time at a poetry reading.
Oh!
So,
Woo!
I read a lot of poetry, but I haven't been to an official, an event like
Oh,
this.
but this is not official.
Well, an unofficial event like
There
this.
you go.
I have 2 poems today, and I do believe they will fall within the framework of a 5-minute limit.
All right.
The first one I have written today related to here, and the second one I have memorized over the course of months. They're both mine. Okay, the first one. The title of this poem is What I Want. I want to be a truth seeker of the future. Dreamy haze of nostalgic instructional videos, ready to hop on timelines on the train tracks of metaphysics. I want to work out before I make art with my brain because I heard that the body is also important. But really, which one ends up in a grave first? I don't hope to be an angel. I've just had very specific dreamscapes. To be more honest, I forgot my tinfoil hat trope. Toil away to be helpful like the theater ushers. Can't see without 'em. Can we make the truth ring louder than a hotel desk bell? The guy behind the counter is counting the hours, and there you stand with your suitcase in hand, waiting for the truth to jump out and surprise you like a birthday clown with nothing but good intentions, who simultaneously hides and tries to be seen with astounding frequency. What is truth, I ask? It is a weapon if you wield it well. It's armor if you collect it like seashells over the shores of the longest short life. I promise it pays off. I spent 26 years being too honest. I'm 26 now. The winding and weaving represents the feeling of truth because truth isn't messy, it's just fucking surreal. Sacred means a lot to most people, and to me it means keep on looking. Grounds mean blades took to whatever it is you're cooking, or maybe just the coffee, or maybe just the location of an occurrence, a glimpse of an occurrence, a real stunner. The beginning of something special like the heart on your sleeve. Remember the first days of school past? The truth is helpful. Like hopping the next timeline to Siemi the Ekis, in preparation for the biggest battle of our lives, ready to push through like a breach in the destiny of the sands of time. All in all, end in end, I'm ready to remember how truthful this all began and remained. I'm ready to take the test of time, sharpening my millennial references, Ticonderoga pencils within the little bubbles lines. Peace. Truth is for the willing. I'm waiting in the palm of your hands.
Yeah.
Do I have time to memorize it? It's
Yeah.
a bit shorter. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is something I wrote in response to a poet that I'd sent far too long of an email to. I was very embarrassed, and I've added an addendum to bring the mood up afterwards. Effervescence. The title of this poem is Humility. Effervescence has promised me that I need to let go of bullshit. The only way to sky blue free, remove the crutches and splint. I hobbled away in shame and aches of pain, waiting for the iris of God to swear or claim my heart as one of his fullest game. A tiny pawn with no good moves, get off my lawn of arrogance. The grooves in our brains are terrible at this. Half a hammer away, I could see my own stumble. It's time to combine the fears and the strengths, conjure up some strawberry stardust. I'll treat my memory like pink paint. Or a glow up, we finally showed up, fanatically learning through the ages, growing up and tearing through pages. Absorption level, litmus test, paper turns purple, resting on my laurels, taping on tinsel, towels soak up the mess, the truth spilled out right here. Can you clean it up? As these pains and dejections have taught me gratitude and humility, I now become whole. I practice and actualize the harmonious integration of the dualities of self. I vibrate as one with God, free and honest, and I embrace my own true exuberant joyfulness. I am one with the universe. I am one with the universe, and I feel, see, and trust the divine of my mind, body, soul, and spirit. I am honest. I keep my commitments and fulfill all of my agreements. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am proud of who I am and proud of that which I create. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby, who's new, and she will hopefully you come back, yes? Oh, good. She said she'll come back to hear more. All right, let me read the next set, please, so we know what we're doing here. A couple who did sign up, they departed before they could have a chance to read. So we went from, thank you, Abby. We now have Jimmy coming up, then our mini feature, Tommy, then we got Darlene, Beverly, Bob, Hal, Alan, Shem, Evie, Antoinette, Karen, Christina, right?
Yes, Christina.
Okay, and then, I want to make sure I say it right.
Yes.
Okay, and then Rob, who closes it because he is the clincher closer. As I like to say to everybody, please go a little bit short because time is pressing, and that's the only thing that
just shut me
makes
off
my
whenever you
wine.
want.
All right, well,
The system is the problem. We could have had it all, but we could never get enough. We clothed ourselves with the pelts of torture. The warmer we made our bodies, the colder we became inside. We always took 9 for an answer from corporal rat unpersons, systemic immortals that could not say yes. Humans are the canaries in their own coal mine. We have run out of songbirds long ago. Humans have become the clean coal miners in their own canary mine. And if you become what you do with clean coal and smart bombs, you've been dancing on our tomb. We've been decorating all the coffins of the rich for the undead masters of the past, making bets on who gets to eat the last fish. Along the way, learning to be tough enough for capital, you gotta fuck the motherfucker for the motherfucker fucks you. And you cannot change the system from within the system because the system is the problem. They are like the doctors in the death camps, saving the babies only for them to be executed later. We are like mosh pit bullies dancing on our crypts as if celebrating the disinheritance of the meek. We are nothing more than a big fat Bobana Obama banana republic with a more sophisticated style of corruption. We make nothing for ourselves. Our dead zones define the oceans, kill our soil, and fill our brains. Our feet are never allowed upon the dirty ground. We believe in our economic theories as if they were religions, yet religions have all become political. Whereas the real politic is the economy, stupid. And so, .gov has become a business designed for those who can most afford it. Evil, you'll remember, is live spelled backwards. Capital's infinite growth trumps planet Earth. Our constant growth is gay as cancer. Our money is an illusion, a tightly trained parade of electron monkeys seeking only to get back to Earth. Yet we believe our money is the god of all things. Money fades, as does beauty. Beauty fades, as do flowers. But we are not flowers. We are what flowers turn to when they cannot find the sun. Since it's our fault, our illusions are presented as promises. The road to hell, also an illusion, is paved with fake promises of retribution, covered by a neo-penalty called reconciliation, or let's not look back, let the murderers retire. Stumpf goes back to his garden to watch the banana slugs fuck. Meanwhile, if we can imagine heaven after our death and being eligible for it, whatever we're worth, why can't we imagine heaven here on earth where we can use it after our birth without any credit score at all, whatever our net worth? Because you cannot change the system by working within the system, because the system is the problem.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for keeping it short there, buddy. We appreciate it. Now, Tommy Abercrombie, our mini of the evening. Give him a round of applause. Come on. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Mini feature. And there we go. I'll frame you.
So, tonight, I'm going to be channeling somebody else. It's somebody who has been pushing at my brain for a while now, and she won't be silenced. So I'm going to let her take over. And I'm going to take you back to 1990. And her name is Esther. And her story is fiction and fact. After you're gone, and left me crying. After you're gone, there's no denying. Oh, those guys, they were just impossible. My son Marty, he was the ringleader. He didn't know that I knew, but I did. I figured it out that night. I walked in and Marty was wearing my best clothes and shoes, prancing around the living room saying, "Look at me, I'm Esther." He always called me by my first name. The other guys were laughing up a storm. "Son of a bitch!" I yelled and hurled my purse at him. He ducked and it hit the lamp, which fell and broke. I wanted to cry. That lamp meant so much to me. My mother left it to me. Jem and I glued it back the next day. He was Marty's boyfriend. One day, Marty announced he was gay. The next day, Jem and I moved in. It was like that around there. I didn't care that he was that way. I just wish he didn't flaunt it so much, especially with the family. Like my sister. I had to tell her off that day she referred to Gemini, who was black, with that awful word. She never came around no more after that. Good riddance to her. She was always judging everybody. Arnold was black too. His father was a minister. He had a church about 2 blocks from here. He caught Arnold in the pew kissing a boy, and well, he and Marty had been friends since they were kids, so my son invited him to stay in the house. I found out one morning when I came down to the kitchen, and there he was, sitting at the table eating cereal. I didn't have my glasses on yet, so I didn't recognize him at first. I said, "Who the hell are you?" He smiled, and he said, "Surprise, I'm your new roommate, Esther." I was always the last to know anything around here. My husband and I bought this place right after he came home from the war. We got it for a steal. He died when Marty was just a kid. Arnold's lover was Tony. They slept upstairs in the 3rd bedroom. Tony was Italian and from South Philly. I always thought he looked more Jewish. He got thrown out of the house too, and ended up here at the Salvation Army. The first time I met him, I was just coming home from a 10-hour workday. It was late and raining cats and dogs. The damn bus didn't come when it was supposed to, and I was so tired. My feet were killing me. I had a headache. I just wanted to grab a little something to nosh on and then go to bed. I walked into the kitchen and turned on the light, and there they were, Arnold and Tony, naked as the day they were born, sitting there making out. Music was blaring. No wonder the guy next door was always complaining. The house smelled like a damn opium den. I said, don't expect no sympathy from me if you catch yourself the death of a cold sitting around there with everything hanging out like that. Theirs was the great romance. They were so much in love, like, I don't know, Romeo and Juliet. I never told them, but they were the cutest couple I had ever seen. They were always together. One night I came in, and Arnold's singing his heart out in the living room. He's wearing a top hat and tails. He's trying to get Tony to do a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers routine with him. Tony was no dancer, believe me. After you're gone, and left me crying. After you're gone, there's no denying. You'll feel blue, you'll feel sad. That guy had a voice. He could have made it big, but all he wanted to do was clown around with those guys. The next day, Arnold told me that Tony was thinking of breaking off with him. When I had the chance to get Tony alone, I said, "What the hell's the matter with you? You break my Arnold's heart, and I'm gonna break your head. Don't think I'm kidding." We all thought it would go on forever, but nothing does. That morning, my son sat me down and told me that Gemini was sick. I thought I'd die. I didn't understand what the hell was happening. I had read something about a gay cancer, but I thought it was just crazy talk. Before I knew it, Gemini was just skin and bones. He could barely walk. It broke my heart that there was nothing I could do. When he was in the hospital, the guys brought him some of that stuff they smoke. They said he went out smiling. Tony left Arnold, and I never saw him again. Then my son got sick. My God, he went so fast. It just wasn't fair. I swear, if there's a God up there, he's got a lot to answer for. Arnold moved out not long after the funeral. I call him sometimes. He says Tony's okay. He's got a new boyfriend. He's even made peace with his papa. Imagine that. I ain't been feeling so good. It's probably nothing. That Meshuggah doctor says I don't got much time, but what does he know? I ain't afraid to go. I haven't done anything wrong. I got nothing to apologize for. When Marty was dying, he asked me why I put up with all those crazy things they did. I said, "Why? You regret doing that to your poor old mother?" He said, "Hell no, Esther. I don't regret nothing either, Marty." nothing at all. Half a minute? Real quick. So I'm just going to end with a poem. When my grandmother, who died at 98 or 99, when she was dying, we had to go visit her, and this is a poem about that. Most of all, I remember your face, parchment, lifted from some ancient tomb, each crease a river, running back through time, each hieroglyphic a memory. Papa said, "Kiss Nona." I leaned in, held my breath, and barely touched your flesh, making the pucker sound of a kiss, not wanting to taste old skin, afraid death would rub off. You never opened your eyes. Thank you.
Tommy Amicola, Mecca, a mini feature of the evening.
I'm doing a show in less than 2 weeks. I'm going to pass around cards for that show.
All right. Darlene, who is new? Darlene, where are you? Is Darlene here? We have Darlene and Beverly.
Maybe she's so new she wasn't born yet.
Oh, those, so those are the people that had the phone call for? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, that takes care of Darlene and Beverly. Which brings us to Bob. Brings us to you. So you want to be there? Okay. Bob's gonna speak from In the Situation. And then we have Hal, Alan, Shem, Evie, Antoinette, Karen, Christina, who is new, and then Rob, our closer. Let me take care of these prizes up here, just so people know.
I'm just going to read an essay which I called Money. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but I was thinking as I looked at it that I could have written this essay when I was about 8 years old, and I could have read it to my parents. And this is how it goes. It's called Humankind, an Appeal, a Manifesto. It is a marvel of our enduring existence that we are not much different from that couple who appeared in a garden at the beginning of our time. It is difficult, nor yet impossible, to choose an auspicious start when the stars endure light years ahead with an apparent but not real indifference to our presence in a universe that is theirs. Long before we came to know them, they were there to be seen by us. What then exists now that we continue to write of the living on of beauty itself? Women are in a period, I think, of overkill in this era of our history. And yet history is of all of us, however it may be written. And we cannot reproduce the miracle of a kind, of our kind, without the milk of each of us. That is in the blood of our veins, the heart of our existence. We do not endure with any left unborn. Questions answered or no, we are each of us born. What are our choices? What then are the peripheries of our given time? What choice may be given us if but to endure life is life? What choice do we have then? What life do we have if life be but to endure? We are very similar, it is said, to the very start of our existence. What then is left if not to endure, if not to thrive as perhaps always at the best of our living lives? Men are now lost in the history of our history. It is a time we may bear the end of the existence of righteous indifference, of past actions and deeds. Womankind were right, that we have named things only on the basis of our favorites, and that we have always consigned them to that behavior of our ways, them and not ourselves. But what do they know? What do they know of whom they speak? What do we know? What is that of whom we speak? I insist. Upon the living, we cannot go back. It is not in the sequence of our histories to get lost in time. Never, not that. So then, how shall we endure again if the beginning is in existence then the essence of time is in endurance. Does this not seem to be ridiculous? What is our time then but the very now? We are here now in the thick of things. Men and women, we again, are still at odds. Can we still exist per se? What still do our children think of our grievances? But they are still the grievances of that existence. Still we must endure our existence, our time. If these are just play on words, then all words might be a play on time, on our time itself. Things do not change. There will always be purchase in the marketplace. There may always be diamonds on the rings of engagement. Does that too not ring true? So what is the untold story of our history? The story that is told as if to no ears that would not care to listen, to no eyes that would not open to see. That endurance is the power of our race, the pride of our existence, that we shall live, that it is love and humility we need, no longer power and pride, and that it must be for the sake of being alive in and of itself. That is all there is. And for the sake of love and its kin, humility, that for those alone we may live forever, if that be in the end.
Thank you, Bob. Loud and clear, Bob. I love it. Mr. Hal Robbins. Thank you, Bob. That was great. Oh, can you move it like
Where's your light?
yeah, towards the
They
corner?
win.
Like right there. Thank you. Perfect. You are beautiful, wonderful, and happy and good.
Thanks. Well, I began with something that was lengthy, fragmentary, and obscure, so what I'll say now is short, familiar, and well-known.
Balance.
By Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds would have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now, with your fierce tears I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Thank you, Hal. Dr. Hal Robbins. Alan Harris, Alan Harris.
Yay!
That's the Alan Harris song, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, ooh.
Sweetheart, I've been adjusting my own microphone since I was 30.
You're 30?
He's 29.
Dostoevsky.
I am right now experiencing a sadness so deep, so profound, bottomless, and all-encompassing, of such magnitude and intensity that I am physically ill. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hurl. And I am going to hurl with such force and velocity that it will spew forth, travel the length of the room, and spray all over you people sitting in the back. And it will be vomit that is the result of a sadness that is so intense that the vomit itself will become a person. And as I am now completely paralyzed by this sadness which has overtaken me, then this person, composed entirely of my vomit, will become my vomit alter ego, my vomit doppelganger. And he will take over and perform my daily routine. He will drive my car. He will work at my job. He will pine for my ex-girlfriends. And he will probably be better at it than I am, despite his handicap of having an all-vomit composition. My friends will love him. My family will respect him. My boss will promote him. My ex-girlfriends will want to date him. He will be charming and fun and graceful and upchuck Fred Astaire. He will be fearless and sensitive at all the right times, and no one will care that he is a big, disgusting pile of vomit, because he will be perfect in every other way. And he will never, ever end up crawling across the floor, crying and begging for a chance to do it all over again, because he will have done it right the first time.
You try to get that picture out of your mind and it just stays there.
Now how do you like this sofa?
A support system. A group of people who will be there for you when you're feeling down about yourself and need someone to remind you that you're not stupid and talentless and pointless and worthless and completely unnecessary. People who will tell you that you're going to live forever and that you're aging beautifully and that you're a fast typist and a great cook and a fantastic singer and an excellent driver and a skilled lover. People who will cancel golf games and hair appointments and tarot card readings and appendectomies and desperately needed vacations and the giving or taking of depositions and their own therapy sessions just to act as therapists for you when you need to be guided out of the very deep and very dark parts of your psyche. People who will remind you of the good you have brought into the world and who will embellish how good the good is if the good isn't really all that good. People who will turn over to you all of their passwords and PIN codes as a sign of how trustworthy they find you to be. People who will watch Citizen Kane on Turner Classic Movies and then call you up and tell you that you could have directed that. People who will pretend to agree with your crackpot theory that the JFK assassination was actually a suicide instead of telling you what a fucking moron you are. People who will hate your enemies along with you and who will listen patiently to your sick fantasies about melting your enemies down and refashioning them as dinnerware so you can eat off of them every night. People who will lie to you, who will perpetuate your delusions, who will encourage your codependency, who will indulge your every whim, no matter how irrational, who will nurture your worst personality traits. You know, a support system.
Helen Harris! See, I thought he was talking about Trump there for a minute. All right. Shem is coming up. Give Shem a nice round, please. And then we got Edie and Antoinette, Karen, Christina, Bob Newhart.
I love it.
I know. Thank you.
Okay, so this is like the beginning of my future memoir. Mine was an auspicious birth. My parents and several other young radicals had left the city to join in the creation of a new commune in the mountains of Northern California. Fueled by the ideas of the New Left and idealistic interpretation of the Maoist concept of cultural revolution and a uniquely American sense of individualism, they embarked on their social experiment with the desire to transform themselves and by doing so somehow transform the larger society. It was 1968, a time of revolution throughout the Third World, and they felt identified with the struggle. In late August, a motley crew of draft dodgers, student organizers, self-proclaimed mystic healers, musicians, artists, and meatniks moved to Black Bear Ranch, a gold mining town that had been abandoned at the end of the 19th century. These crazy kids had little idea of what it really would take to be self-sufficient and survive off the grid. They had found a beautiful place, but it was extremely isolated. No electricity, no running water, no septic tank, and no telephone. The only automobile access was a 12-mile dirt road that wound up the side of a mountain and disappeared once the snow fell. Snowed in became a common term during winter months at Black Bear. The nearest mailbox was down a 6-mile trail that ran along the watershed to the main road, a 1-lane tar and gravel track with no center line that snaked along the Salmon River. Blind turns at every bluff. The nearest town was still miles away. It consisted of a store, a post office, a Forest Service station, and a 1-room schoolhouse. The locals there were mainly miners and Indians. This was Karuk country, and the long-haired hippie freaks from the city were not instantly welcomed. It was an early winter that year. I was born at 2 in the morning on October 17th in a barn loft with animals below. It was snowing outside, and my 4-year-old sister was sent to the main house for help. Terrified that the wolves were going to get her, an older girl had told her that wolves would eat her up if she went outside alone at night. She braved the cold and dark, brought back other adults, and I was born, my umbilicus tied off with a fresh, bright white new sneaker string.
He brought it down. That was great. All right. Evie, then Antoinette, Karen, Christina, and then Rob. You don't mind me saying it that way, do you?
Not at all.
Okay, just checking, because I've been saying that for weeks now.
Oh, Rob.
Not quite like that.
This is fun. Lots of fun. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you for saying that and recognizing the fun aspect of this. And now give her a nice little bit of a round here, and then Antoinette will be following.
Okay. Because I'll struggle with my stupid, still not new eyeglasses. Sunday was the 27th, which was my grandfather's birthday, and I was real happy to read this at a reading in Berkeley in his memory, and I'm reading it again today. And it's about witnessing. And it's about the terrible times we're in, and all these things are just like kickers for me because of the Trump time. But also, I noticed that morning when I was looking at May 27th, I noticed that on this day, in Jewish history, they have this Judeo thing that the socialist newspaper, Jewish Currents, does. And, okay, it is the anniversary of a boycott of Manhattan butcher shops began on this date in 1935, which was a boycott brought together the communist, it included a whole bunch of groups, these 20,000 communist-led Council of Working Class Women, various settlement houses, socialist groups, black organizations, church auxiliaries, and mothers groups. Okay, and it spread through Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Philadelphia. In Detroit, members of the Black Women's Housewives League burned down a meatpacking house before burning down the entire before heading to Chicago to help shut down that city's entire meat industry. Yeah, and I leave you with a quote here, and it's too relevant today. And it's by, this is Jean Stovell, who was the organizer of a housewives' flour boycott in Seattle in '36. We are that mythical thing called the public, and so we shall demand a hearing. Okay. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, this is called Heinz Rosenberg at the platform. Late at night. Went out again in history, looking for grandfather, asking for grandmother, really just any clues at all. In a footnote, I meet Heinz Rosenberg of Hamburg, who saw grandmother and grandfather, he said so, arrive in the Minsk ghetto in December of 41. This is when I stop the film, say I've had enough, befriend the future. Their grandchildren shimmer at the end of the century. I take the footnote north from Vienna with that train to Minsk. Heinz Rosenberg is on the platform witnessing. Of all the trains that came, he says that one was the worst. All elderly, these Jews in shock. Any food brought with them was seized at the station, 8 days in transit. Their faces remember him and visit him in hollow dreams down the years. They rely on him. Who else but this Heinz Rosenberg of Hamburg to tell how he saw us? Outreach. There is a portrait of Heinz Rosenberg that hangs at the Holocaust Museum website. An identity photo to match the man I met in a footnote, the boy from Hamburg deported to Minsk in 41, just weeks before grandmother and grandfather. The youngest of 3, he could be my uncle. Arriving in Minsk, he said, I saw guards throwing loaves of bread into open cattle cars full of Soviet POWs. As the starving men fought over the food, German guards shot at them. I then realized we were never going to return. You can visit Heinz Rosenberg by following the Holocaust Museum's outreach link. Arrival. Heinz Rosenberg was at the platform when your train pulled in. Meine Güte, tell me it isn't true. Finding this out, I am learning my name for the first time. What is the low moan of 1,000 old Jews in 40 below zero in a winter that broke records? In the winter of my grandparents, let them have that. Heinz Rosenberg on the platform. This was the train. This was the train that left Vienna on November 28, 1941. 8 days in transit. I consider time travel. Want to touch grandmother's skin, her fine cheek, a face with a memory of mine and all future possibility. I will be with you forever. Promise me you will feel no pain.
Thank you, Evie. Taking us back. Thanks, Jeanette. Okay. And we will frame you. David, thank you as always.
Yes, thank you, David. Thanks.
Thank you, Evie.
Thank you.
You are so good. All the time.
How's that?
Oh, yes. This is Antoinette, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a round of applause. I'm sorry. I was remiss in my hosterly duties. Hosterly?
2 quick ones.
All right.
Drifters broke bonds, lose track, long gone. Childhood friends explore, move away. It's natural. Virtual screen ties ribbons to us all, reuniting in this place that we go for hearty backslaps, hugs, joy. Where possibility stirs my heart, virtual sex lives in clicks. Chicks find love far removed from the hood. Beautiful people get rejected somewhere else, but here, counterfeit copies, pose smiles in selfies, mirrored disguise. Look for roots through ancestry, give away secrets, there's no under the radar now. DNA database uncovers cousins or green truths where paternity lies. Millions in colored cups condensed in cities, scattered under rural night skies, forget their source. Love created me like itself. That last line was coveted from the Course in Miracles.
Oh, okay.
And then here's another one. Forgive you whose heart was closed, overlook her whose mind abandoned me, bear with Holocaust trauma affecting this child, dismiss you when television screen speaks your name out, excuse him whose schizophrenia hardened the boy, release her fatherless babe who was mine, pardon me gluttony that nothing else could fill, green-eyed girl, beholden to huge hands, my protector, appreciative for years at Page and Masonic where St. Agnes held all prayers, indebted to your attentive ear, child's days recounted while beef stew simmered, grateful for brothers, sordid stories of walking mummy, their heads split open as scattered jelly beans filled dark spaces. Young love, I swallowed your mouth where I could never remember who I was. Thankful you left the ivory soap scent lingers in soft cotton tea. Tiny white daisies all leaning west, the kind old women like on their dress. We laughed while pretending ripe plums are jewels like rubies we can eat. Perceptions solidify our beliefs. We are not alone in experiencing the effects of our seeing.
Thank you. Glad to see you back. Oh, Karen Melandermagoon. Would you kindly come forward? And then we got Christina, and then Rob. And we may have someone else if they decide to change their mind and wave at me and throw something at me and hit me with it.
Well, they're pretty short, I think. But you tell me
if you want accompaniment or not.
Yeah, have them go in, because we're trying to go a little bit short, but we'll take care of everything here. Don't worry about it. Actually, worry about it. It's my job to worry about everything.
Wait a minute, I'm going the wrong way. Am I going the wrong way? Oh, yeah.
No, you're right there. How can you be going the wrong way? You're not even moving.
That's the right way.
Ooh,
no, I was
David, you should stand up. That makes a great compositional thing.
I should stand up?
Yeah, because you know, like, it's great. Okay.
The children, refugee children, homeless children, orphan children, children of the world, like buds, sprouting from seeds left randomly by birds or wind, carried on rivers, streams, floating in ponds, muddied, sullied, blown aloft, lost, ravaged, anonymous, tenaciously sending tendrils into the earth, hanging on to life, as to the sprouting twig, intrepidly pushing up. And I think I lost the last part of that, but just remember pushing up.
Okay.
Daffodil. The restaurant on the corner set out tables with a daffodil on each. Bright spots of light at 7 in the morning, a chilly spring morning. The tables were bare of guests for breakfast, yet inspiration for passers-by, seeing daffodils of light, bright yellow warmth standing tall against the cold.
Yeah. Aaron Melandermagoon, a rare treat. Thank you for coming. And come again. We haven't seen you in a while. Okay, now, Christina. She is new. This is our first time live in the
Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm very honored to be taking part in an open mic that has existed since 1972.
92.
And yeah, very glad to be part of Sacred Grounds and to follow so many amazing readers. So I have a couple of poems that I've written at various points throughout my life. So first one is called Beginnings. Beginnings are small, tiny, often unnoticed. The shoot sampling its starch reserves, breaking out from its coating, the taproot extending unseen from moist humus. Maybe the frosts are over. Maybe the sun shines brightly enough to power early leaves. Late winter, finally enough water for emerging green. Sloppy mud guards sprouts from footsteps. Gentle flow of growth on schedule. Spring fueled by the decay of fall. And slanted winds knocking leaves and twigs into thick gray-brown mushy muck. Confusion harder to take than failure. Not victory, not defeat. No answers from the waterlogged indistinct sludge. We wait and the soil thaws, and we emerge, but receive still no answers, but a gathering of shoots.
Oh yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah. Eyes closed, hands clasped, breath in rhythm. Questing inward to find truth, abandon attachment and ego. Time to yank up straw from arid fields and weave the strands into precious metals and peer through the jewels of clarity somehow crystallized from thin air. Opening up in therapeutic conversation, my shaky feet fall through the water as I seek to cross to the realm of inner understanding and bring forth insight to feed thousands of hungry dilemmas, like making stone soup without the benefit of neighbors. Placing myself in line at my own soup kitchen for the good of self and others. Introspecting on a mat, on a chair, on a couch. Finally doing what I'm told. Confronting issues rather than coping by window shopping for the ruby slippers I know are beyond my budget, but whose heels I can simply click together to find my own way home. And here, I am from Hayward. I am the person turned away from services when uptown nonprofits close early because the staff just learned at a retreat to make time for self-care. And I am the person mocked later for being a fundamentalist religious fanatic and likely a Trump supporter when I go to a local church instead to get the groceries I need. And I am the person from whom Trump wants to make America safe again. I am from Hayward. I'm that bad rape survivor who won't report what happened because I can't have folks blaming me for being out at night. I need to work those long hours to feed my kids and don't need tension at home. And I'm that bad domestic violence survivor with their ex on speed dial. They're family, and I need their income after I got laid off from leaving work early to make it back to the shelter by curfew. And prison will only make them angrier. And I'm that bad environmentalist with the gas-guzzling car I can't afford to replace, and no budget for organic food. Although I picked up trash by the creek and planted flowers, I am from Hayward. I'm the teenager in trouble with the law, failing school, needing to work to help support my family rather than preparing for jobs that no longer exist. And I'm the adult who had that job that no longer exists when I was back in my country, but got turned away from minimum wage work here because of my shaky English. And I'm the senior citizen with wisdom to share who gets mocked as backward because I don't know the correct modern tech or social justice terms. And I'm the family caregiver, tired of being asked when I will get a real job with a paycheck. So when you ask me to help your causes and fight for you, perhaps I will. I'll lend my tired shoulders and worn out car and one more homemade casserole. Not just because you asked, but because I choose to stand beside you, because I am from Hayward.
Thank you very much, Christina.
And here's my final one, spontaneous grace. At this moment, I experience the desire for spontaneous grace. For the rain that holds off until 10 minutes after your hike. For the extra 5 minutes a friend waits until your arrival. For the extra 20 minutes your car somehow runs until the gas station. For the reason why some business people stop and give change to a strange homeless person. For the reason why a receptionist smiles and lets you in too near closing time. For the reason why people share words of support and a few bucks to folks online without asking for proof first. For the mirror kind enough to break and shift your image in all the right ways. For the dandelion in the cracks that escapes the neighbor's weed whacker. For the train that waits for you. For the traffic cop who winks, just once, at the jaywalkers or the driver 10 or 15 miles over the limit. For the single parent whose garage sale customers tell him or her to keep the change. For the time your housemate who loves angry talk radio actually switches on the music. For the gleam of a rainbow and the soap scum on your dishes. For the time when your mom actually doesn't open her mouth when there are still dirty dishes in your room. For the reason I still do favors for a friend everyone says could do more for herself. For home, for love and memories. For the grace notes at the end of the symphony. For the extras which get and keep us up in the morning. For spontaneous grace.
Rob. Yes, he's the last word. He is our last word. That's one of the, just so you know, one of the door prizes is the last word. And Rob is that this evening. He kicks off the second half. He closes it out. Oh, you're going to ask you the names. Or unless you want to get, yeah, I'll explain. And, huh? Yeah, you're good. You're perfect. Everybody knows that. Can you like back a little bit so I can train it better? Oh yeah, there you go. Look at that sweet child. Yeah. Woogie, woogie, woogie.
This is called Giving Love. Our love was true, the sex was great too. We were happy as two kids can be. But things come to pass, love kicked us in the ass. Our ship hit a stormy sea. We've since moved on to sing another song. I'm spanking it regularly. I miss her each day, but what can you say? Whatever must be, must be. Love's about giving, giving and forgiving, cherishing the good and the bad. You give and give more, try not to keep score, and hope for more happy than sad. Without love, life's scary. God fucks no one but Mary. Human Nookie's good enough for this lad. So here's a little rundown of the getting up and getting down and the giving that she and I had. I gave her poems of love, she gave me kisses. I gave her lots and lots of back rubs. She gave me patience and care. I gave her sexy underwear. She gave me a bath scrub. I gave her books to read. She gave me what I need. I gave her chocolate chip cookies. She lifted up her skirt. I made her a cool shirt. She gave me the birds and the bees. I gave her mom some flowers. She dressed like Wonder Woman. I grew my hair like Fabio. We gave ourselves 69 until we ran out of time. But some gifts just won't let go. We gave and we gave, and we gave some more. With all that crazy giving, only two things will endure. I gave her athlete's foot, and she gave me the herp. There's no denying it, we're both a dirty perp. Who will ever want our love in touch? But could it be we gave too much? I gave her athlete's foot, and she gave me the herp. What can you do? This love was meant for more than two. And who was it said? Love hurts. I gave her athlete's foot, and she gave me the herp. 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 Everybody! He gave me the. Ah, you have it too. Well,
gets
how
around.
do you do? Ah, she gave it to you. So you do anything later? What? You're gonna just sing? Okay. She gave me the. Everybody hit the high note.
Thank you, Rob. Our last word of the evening.